No. Yeah, no. I wonder how many times he's going to use that as a potty. Probably not too many. Yeah. Yes. Got the popcorn.
I've never heard anyone describe
in the
inner
refrigerator.
workings of a brain the way
Got bread in my fingers.
And I knew I wanted to hear more about his life. He's an intriguing and friendly
Cooking,
man, and the more questions I asked, the more twists and turns
chicken
he
pot
revealed.
pie,
He told his story
roasted
at a show in
garlic,
Boston where he
and
partnered with public radio
sausage.
station
You want some of it?
WGBH. Here's John Elder Robeson.
Okay, it'll be about an hour and a half or so.
Well, there I was, years before, 15 years old. I didn't have any friends. I was failing every one of my classes at Amherst High School, out in the western part of the state.
Colorado?
I never knew what to say or do. I couldn't tell what other people were thinking. I always seemed to say the wrong thing, and I thought I said something nice to make them smile, and instead I pissed them off. And it was the same with my schoolwork. My teachers would give me work to do, and either I didn't understand it and I couldn't do it at all, or I understood it all too well.
Okay.
Frankly, it was stupid. You wouldn't do it either. And I told them that, and they just did the only thing they could, and they flunked me. And anyway, I could see I wasn't getting anywhere, and I resolved to drop out of school and do something else. And this was, the 70s, and I had a guidance counselor. And in his supportive way, he says to me, "Boy, you drop out of school, and even the Army isn't going to take you, because Vietnam's coming to an end, and they won't take high school dropouts and losers." And so, encouraged
Nice guy.
by that advice, I decided that I would do what millions of other people did. Running off to the circus is what they did in the last century, but in the 70s, kids like me, we dreamed of joining a rock and roll band. Well, millions of young people dreamed of being that guitar player, being a singer up on stage. I didn't have any friends. There's no way I was going to be friends with a million people out there in the audience. And I didn't have a dream of being the singer and the star on stage. Instead, what I had was an interest in electronics, and I had taught myself how to fix and repair and modify and eventually build guitar amplifiers and sound effects. So where all those other kids thought that they could become the rock and roll superstars, and they ended up waiting on tables, I thought I'd be the engineer that would make their amplifiers work, and I never didn't have a job. And I joined local bands, and I started working for bigger and bigger bands, and I got hired by a company called Britannia Row, who was back then Pink Floyd's sound company. And that brought me out here to Boston, playing what I thought was big rock and roll. I was right down the street here at the Orpheum Theater with the Kinks and with Talking Heads and Roxy Music and one English act after another. So one day in the studio down there, this fellow comes in, and we were doing some work with him, and he comes in, takes out a guitar, and he starts digging at it with a chisel. And I had always been unable to deal with other people, but I had a great love of machinery, and I couldn't stand to see him destroying that guitar, and I wondered what was the matter with him, and I went over and I asked him. And he told me he wanted to make the guitar blow fire. And I just was thinking, well, I better get it out of his hands before this crazy musician destroys it. And I said, well, I could do that, and I could do it professionally. And you know, I couldn't ask a girl the time of day, but somehow I could tell this famous musician that I could fix his guitar professionally. And the fellow was Ace Frehley a kiss, and he turns to his roadie after talking to me a few minutes, and he says, "Tex, have Gibson send this guy a guitar right away." And so they did. I took it home, and me and some of my friends, because I had a few friends by then, we got together and we made that guitar blow fire. And we went on to make every guitar Kiss put on a stage back then that shot fire, shot rockets, lit up and exploded. We made them all in Amherst, Massachusetts. So anyway, there I was in my early 20s, and I'd been a total loser in school, but the world of musicians had welcomed me. It didn't matter what I looked like or what I sounded like. I could say the craziest, dumbest things at all. It didn't matter if I couldn't talk to girls, if I could talk to guitars. That was good enough, because if you could make beautiful music, you were welcome in that world. And people started inviting me to do other stuff. They invited me to start making stuff for movies. And I got asked to go interview for a job as director of research at this new company back then called Lucasfilms. So I looked to see where they are, and and they're in Los Angeles, and there I was in Western Massachusetts. And
We'll go check on Fuzzy Butt.
and I thought
See
to
how he's doing.
myself, these people do not know that I'm a high school dropout. They don't know that I've been lying about my age since I was 16, because the drinking age was 21 to play bars. And I'm going to go get a job out there, and they're going to discover that I'm just a high school dropout and a loser and a total fraud. And they're going to fire me, and I'll starve to death out there in California. And I know to tell you that, today,
Interesting show. Let's go check on Fuzzy Butt. Hopefully we don't have to bury him soon. At least he came home. See, Blackie follows me everywhere I go. See, I did a popcorn popper. Put the room foil on it. Can't do anything to it. And I lost power. Damn it. I hate this. All the people in the world have to fall in love with me. I don't like this guy. I kind of wonder. How's my Fuzzy Butt? Yeah, how's my Fuzzy Butt? Fuzzy Butt, you can't beat it. Let me see your face. Oh, you're better. You look a ton better. You look good. I guess with all the other heaters off and stuff and everything, it should run it to now. I'm gonna wait another half hour before I put the other stuff in the popper in a bag. Clean it.
Said that to me. People with Asperger's can't read body language, and they get too close to people who scare them, and they turn away when they're talking, and people think we're rude. And people with Asperger's, we say inappropriate things because we don't have any filters in our heads, and And even if we are right about whether the customers are experts, people don't like to hear that. And